Welcome, everyone. I hope you are doing well today. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Jandy Reynoso. I am an Education USA advisor in Mexico City, and I will be conducting part of this info session. Before we get started, just a couple of things. Please remain muted and also with your video off while we have this presentation. Feel free to type your questions or comments in the chat. At the end, we will have a section for Q&A and we will be reviewing your questions and your comments. Also, this session is being recorded and it will be available in our YouTube channel. And also feel free to take action and take opportunity of the English closed caption that they are available at the bottom of our screen. So you just have to click on the button that says live transcript. So today's session will be just reviewing how you can apply for a graduate degree in the United States. We will cover everything you need to know in order to submit an application. And also we will have a section where we're going to be talking about opportunities for Indigenous studies. And we also have a special guest, Cynthia Montaño, who is currently a PhD student at UC Berkeley. In a couple of more minutes, we will introduce Cynthia and we will have her share her experiences with us. So let's start our session. What is Education USA? I know many of you, probably this is the first time that you participate in one of our events. We just want to take the time briefly to explain what we do. So we are a global network of advising centers from the US State Department. We basically advise students who are interested in submitting an application in studying in the US. If it's an ESL program, for example, if you're interested in studying English, if you're interested in studying an undergraduate degree. In this case, this session, we will talk the specifics to study a graduate degree in the United States. We are your official source for receiving accurate, comprehensive, and current information about the different opportunities that exist in the United States available for you, for international students. Remember that all of our services and all of our activities are free of charge. We have about 23 advising centers in Mexico. At the end, we will be sharing just general information about how you can connect with your closest Education USA advising center. So whether you plan to study an undergraduate degree or a graduate degree in the United States, Education USA has your 5 steps to US studies. We will be talking throughout this presentation a little bit about each of these steps. So let's start with the step 1, that is research your options. So in the United States, there are nearly 4,000 accredited higher education institutions in the United States. This means that, well, you have many options to choose from. I know some of you already have a few institutions in mind. They are probably the most competitive and the most selective institution. That is great, perfect. But part of our job at Education USA is to help you and give you the resources to explore your options to see what other options are available to you. As I mentioned, we will give you the resources you need to find the university that will best fit your academic, your financial, and your personal needs. We recommend that you start doing this exercise of researching your options 12 to 18 months prior to the academic year. The two websites that you see at the bottom of our screen will help you to start defining your priorities and also to start researching your options. These are platforms that can help you narrow your options. You will be able to filter universities in the US using different criteria. For example, if you're interested in studying at a specific area in the United States, for example, at a state, at Texas, for example. So these platforms will let you filter universities by, for example, by state, maybe by area of study, by budgets, etc. So we highly encourage you to start researching your options using these platforms and these resources. Step 2 will be about completing your application. These are just the general requirements that you need to submit in order to have a complete application. I am not talking specifically about an institution in particular. Since we are Education USA, we can basically help you to submit an application to any accredited institution in the United States. So these are just the general requirements, and we can start talking a little bit about these requirements. So your standardized test, sorry, let me go back. The English proficiency test, will be to, you need to prove that you speak English. Institutions will tell you specifically which English proficiency test you can submit. Usually, higher education institutions in the US accept TOEFL IBT or Duolingo or IELTS or the PTE or the Michigan test, etc. So you need to do your research and see what is the specific English proficiency test that the institution you need to take. Also take into consideration there might be a few minimum scores that you need to fulfill in order to be a candidate for this institution. There are also standardized admission tests. They're usually the GRE and the GMAT test. Again, you need to see what is the minimum score if any of the institutions required from you, and also which test you are required to take. These tests probably they will ask you for this specific test, taking into consideration your area of study. You need to start studying for this test, not only for the standardized admission test, but the English proficiency test as well. Please reach out to your closest Education USA advising centers, because we do have many resources for you to start studying for these tests. Another requirement will be the essays. You will be required to submit 2 or 3 or minimum essays, and also there might be a few supplemental essays and a few other questions or prompts that the institution will require from you. The most common essays for graduate school are probably your personal statement, your study objectives, and your statement of purpose. But again, this depends on the institution. Of course, the essays, they need to be written in English. Again, one more time, reach out to your closest advising center because that is something that we can help you with. Of course, we won't write the essays for you. We can give you the resources you need to start working on these essays, and we can help you reviewing your essays. We've have many workshops and sessions online where we've had guests from different institutions that they have taught how to start writing your essays. So feel free to visit our YouTube channels so you can look for these resources. And again, reach out to your closest advising center. Portfolio is also a requirement if you are interested in pursuing a career in the arts or design, then you most likely will be required to submit a portfolio with examples of your work. Reach out to the institutions because they may have specific requirements you need to, your portfolio needs to have. Also for prospective doctorate students, you might be required to submit a writing sample if you already have a publication or even a chapter from your thesis. Another requirement will be for you to submit letters of recommendation. Institutions will require around 2 or 3 letters of recommendation. These letters, they need to be in English. We recommend that these letters are from professors or former professors, or even if you have the experience of working already, maybe a current manager or former manager as well. Again, reach out to your advising center. We do have a few resources for them to take into consideration when writing these letters of recommendation. You also need to submit transcripts. Transcripts, they need to be translated into English. Your transcripts is your academic history, the document that your institution, your local institution or the institution where you graduated from will give you. The paper that says the subjects that you have taken and also the grade that you obtain. There's also, of course, the online application. You need to start working on this online application at the school's website. You will be doing a username and a password, and all of these requirements, they will need to be submitted into this online application. There is an application fee. You will be required to pay a fee in order for the institution to review your application. This depends on the institution. I will say around $60 minimum. There are a few institutions that might cost more than $100, but again, that depends on the institution. A few institutions can give you an application fee waiver, and this is something, an opportunity the institutions will give you in order for you, so you don't have to pay this fee. So that is a great way for you to save some money on these application requirements. Moving on, this is just really quick, something that states the standardized test information. You can probably take a screenshot. We already covered these, but these are just the general information about the costs and where you need to visit online, where you need to go to register and to pay. Right now, due to the pandemic, TOEFL IBT and the GRE, they have some versions of these tests that you can take at home. If you are thinking about taking these tests, the versions at home, just make sure that the institution you are submitting an application will take these versions. Now let's let's talk about the step 3. Let's talk about how you are going to finance your studies. From the very beginning, we recommend you that you start doing this financial planning. Education USA is not a scholarship program. However, part of our advising and part of what we do is to help you explore the different opportunities available for you as Mexican students that you can take into consideration. So as I said, from the very beginning, we will recommend you to start exploring and to of course, to reach out to your closest advising center so you can learn about these special opportunities for financial aid and scholarships. As I said, we can also help you to identify ways to reduce expenses. The fact that you will be submitting an application, it's gonna cost you money. So as I said, we can help you to identify ways how to reduce these expenses. This chart, it's just an example, approximate of the amounts and how much it will actually cost submitting an application for a graduate degree. We already covered the application fees. Our recommendation is that you submit between 5 and 7 applications to different institutions in the US. Of course, if you need to request a document from the institution you graduated from, this usually has a fee. Translations have fees. If during your application process you need to send a few documents through paqueteria, through courier, then you will need to cover an expense as well. There are a few universities maybe that will request that you submit a credential evaluation, and also, of course, taking the test or even getting ready for this test if you are planning to buy a book or maybe to take in a course or anything test preparation related, then this might have some cost as well. This is just a chart that also shows approximately how much a graduate degree in the US costs. Usually this information you can get it directly from the institution that you are interested in submitting an application. Usually the institutions will give you the cost of attendance, which is the final cost, and then they will tell you that this cost of attendance, they are taking into consideration the things that you see on screen: tuition and fees, room and board, university student fees, medical insurance, travel costs, and personal expenses. These amounts that you see on screen, of course, they are US dollars and they are yearly cost. Take into consideration that a few institutions increase their tuition and fees per year between 6 and 10%. The financial aid depends by nationality. You as Mexican students, the principal source or the main source where you're going to be getting scholarships will be through U.S. higher education institutions, through the universities. There might be a few other different organizations in Mexico, for example, that will give you supplementary financial aid, but take into consideration that the main source will be offered by U.S. higher education institutions. Also, it depends by nationality, as I said, for those students who have a dual citizenship, besides having a Mexican citizenship, but you also have a US citizenship, you can, of course, have financial aid offered by US higher education institutions, but also you can apply to receive financial aid from the federal government of the US through FAFSA. If you have any other nationalities, or if we have people from other countries in the audience, reach out to us so we can put you in contact with your closest Education USA Advising Center, since we are more familiar with the opportunities available for Mexican students. Briefly, let's talk about some scholarships, opportunities, and loans that exist, in the United States. Some scholarships available for you are Fulbright, Garcia Robles. They have some convocatorias to study a graduate degree, estudios de posgrado, and STEM regional. If you're interested in learning more about these opportunities, visit their website at comexus.org .mx, comexus.org.mx. Even though these two convocatorias remain closed right now, they will be opening soon. And even though they're closed, you are allowed to see the last calls and see the specific requirements. So Fulbright, they don't only have scholarships to study a graduate degree, they also have programas de profesionalización, such as negocios binacionales, and they also have a few other for English teachers, for researchers, etc. So I encourage you to start visiting their website so you can learn more about these opportunities. There's also the scholarships from the Mexican government through CONACYT. There are a few convocatorias that you are welcome again to check out. I encourage you to visit their official website so you'll learn a little bit more about this. For example, estudios en el extranjero. In the past few years, CONACYT has been only supporting doctorate degrees and also areas of study that are related to health due to the pandemic. There is gobiernos estatales, Alianza FIDEM, CONACYT FONCA, CONACYT FIMBA, etc. So I encourage you again to visit their website. There are two opportunities specifically for women: American Association of University Women International Fellowships. This opportunity is specifically for women that are interested in studying a graduate degree in the US, but that the area of study eventually will benefit the women from their community in home country. And also a Military Hair Fellowship, it's also an opportunity for those women interested in studying a PhD in aeronautical engineering, aeronautical space. There are a few opportunities for loans, FIDER, Banco de Mexico, and FUNED. For these two, and also OASPAN, the RO fund, you need to have a letters of acceptance in order to apply for this opportunity. I encourage you to visit their website to see the specifics of each of these opportunities. Of course, there are, for FIDER and FUNED, there are some deadlines and periods where they receive documents for you to apply for this opportunity. So make sure to visit their website. Now, let me show just a calendar that we recommend you follow. And the first thing will probably be to get in contact with your closest advisor, Education USA advisor. So you can start working in your one-on-one sessions, and you can start working a plan of how you're gonna be working towards submitting an application. So this calendar started at the beginning of this year, so between January, March, during spring. And then this calendar goes a little bit over a year. That's how we usually work our advising services with you. So for example, as you see on screen, it started in spring. You started doing the researching your options, the different institutions, the different programs, etc. You work towards fall to prepare your application and submit your applications between fall and winter, depending on each institution deadline. And then you wait for your letter of acceptance or rejection in spring. And then the summer prior your departure, you attend our pre-departure orientation. These sessions are specifically for those students who are about to leave to the US. We usually cover in different topics that will be of great help before departing to the US. For example, we talk about how to get a US visa, the cultural shock, how to finance your money, and how to manage your finances now that you're a student in the US. And we also talk about some other great topics that will be helpful before departing to the US. And also, well, as you can see on screen, you start your program in fall of 2023. So I know maybe for some of you, you might be a little bit late to start a program for next year, but it's never too late to start. You can reach out to your closest advising center so you can see what are the best options for you. Maybe you have a whole year to prepare your application, or maybe you are in a tight deadline that you need to that it needs to send you an application, and there's always something we can do to help you. So reach out to your closest Education USA Advising Center to learn a little bit more about this calendar. So this is the end of the first session of this graduate degree session. The second part of this event will be introducing, of course, our guest speaker, Cynthia Montaño, and also she will be sharing with us a little bit more about her experiences as a graduate student at UC Berkeley. Before we move into our second session, our second part of this session, let's do a Menti really quick. So you have to go to menti.com. We will also be sharing on the chat the link that you can just click, and please make sure to let us know where you are watching from. We want to know where in Mexico you are watching us from and where in Mexico you are currently joining. If any of you are joining from any other countries, make sure to type on the chat where you are watching us from.
Okay, good afternoon and welcome to today's presentation again. I'm going to share with you my presentation, just a second, and I'm going to ask you to please enter the link or the code that we are sharing in our chat right now, okay? And just tell us, where are you joining from? Just mark it in the map. Okay, I can see some people maybe from Hidalgo, from Mexico City, Jalisco. Who else? Oh, Sonora. Very good. How interesting. Let's give it a minute. So everybody else is pointing at the place in the map where you are joining from. Welcome. Remember, if you're not joining from the Mexican Republic, you can write in the chat, write a message and tell us where you are joining from. Welcome, wherever you're joining from. Okay, I can see two people from Morelos, a person from Quintana Roo, a person from Colima. Greetings. Where would that be? Maybe there's an island there. I don't know what is there. Let us know in the chat. Welcome. 2 people from Morelos. Oh, now from Durango, Chihuahua, maybe Sinaloa. It's right in the middle. Welcome. Let's give just a couple of minutes more. Where do you join from? Come on, don't be shy. If you can't join the session at Menti, maybe you can write it in the chat. Tell us where from the Mexican Republic, where from Mexico do you join from? Okay, let's see. No one from Tamaulipas. Person from Querétaro, I think. Okay. 3 people from Hidalgo. Hello. Welcome. All right. Good. Let's see what the presentation has next. Do you know the name of your Education USA advisor according to your location? Write his or her first name. Okay, I can see some no's here. Maybe you know the name of your advisor. Okay. Great. Jamdi, Jenny. No. Mabel. Okay. Alejandro. Mabel. All right. Greetings to all of our Education USA advisors. Thank you very much for sharing with us. Oh, okay. More Mabel team. More Anna. Okay. Great. A lot of participation in here. All right. A lot of people from Jalisco, I guess. Colima. Great. Okay. So let's now take a minute. I'm going to introduce our today's guest. Just a second. Let me tell you a little bit more about her before we go any further. Hi, hello, I can see you here. So before we start with her notes, we can see her on the screen. Cynthia Montaño Ramirez studied her bachelor's in classical literature at UNAM. She also has a master's degree in Amerindian Studies and Bilingual Education, sorry about that, from the UAQ. Currently, she's doing her PhD in linguistics at UC Berkeley. She's working with her heritage language. I hope I can say it a little bit closer to its original sound. You will correct me later. Da and Davi. I hope I didn't do it that bad, which is a variety of Mixtec located in southern Puebla. She is very interested in language revitalization and reclamation. She coordinated the book ¿Qué hacer para preservar una lengua? Acercamiento a la documentación lingüística in 2019. She was an intern for ELP during the 2021 summer. She's also part of Comunidad Elotl. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. They work to build language technologies for indigenous languages in Mexico. So welcome, Cynthia, how are you?
Hi, yeah, I'm pretty well. I'm here at Berkeley, and thank you for the invitation. It's my pleasure to talk about my experience.
Excellent, welcome. I said a little bit about you, Cynthia, but why don't you, before we start with our questions, with a set of questions that we have for you, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you as a person?
Well, I'm a third year grad student here at Berkeley. I have to say thank you to Education USA because of you. I'm here because that was a very kind of hard process. I don't want to, I don't want to make. exactly, yeah, but it was a hard process, like applying different universities and all the stuff that I have to do to get here. So yeah, well, what else? I'm studying linguistics, yeah. I'm working with my heritage language, which is the Andavi, which is, yeah, variety of mistakes. And well, I'm happy to be here. I started my PhD during pandemic. So I think it was a really big challenge for me, and I mean for all my cohort, because at least I was starting from Mexico. So I was 1 year from Mexico studying online, and it was hard because it was a different system that I used to in Mexico. So, but yeah, I'm here and I don't know.
Welcome once again. So tell us a
Okay,
little bit.
thanks.
It sounds quite of a challenge. It sounds challenging. What motivated you to study a PhD in linguistics in the United States? Like these are like three challenges at once. What motivated you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was here like in 2019 taking a course about like community-based language projects, which I was doing back in Querétaro. So when I was here hearing about like all different projects like in the Native Americans people doing here in USA, and also the diaspora, like the diaspora people from Oaxaca or Nueva York, I mean, or Puebla in New York, or Oaxaca here in California, it was like, wow, that's very interesting work here. And I was like, maybe I can learn, well, not maybe, like maybe I can apply and learn something about all these processes here. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna apply, but I didn't know anything about applying to a USA's PhD or program or whatever. So yeah, and then that's my main, that was my main interest of applying here, like learning how other people here in the USA, like Native Americans or the diaspora people, Mixtec, Zapotec, different people here has learned different things about protecting or their language. So yeah, that's my first interest for applying here.
Great. Such a new field of study, right? The preservation of languages is not something that is very common in Mexico. And I guess it was very logical to follow people that is already doing it. So what opportunities and what challenges did you face when you decided that you wanted to pursue a PhD? What opportunities and challenges do you remember?
Yeah. As I was saying, like, I didn't know anything about applying here. Like, for example, language, like the TOEFL and the application, the essays, like everything. I didn't know anything about it.
And then it happens, a lot of them happen at the same time, right?
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, I was like, I want to try it. Like, let's see what's happening. And then I found this education, Education USA, but the opportunity scholarship, and it was like perfect for me because I need help for applying. And yeah, it was like the first challenge was the language, because for me was I don't know, like English seems hard to me. Even here it's hard, and learning like terms or linguistic terms or taking a class in English, it is hard, and I was kind of terrified of doing that, but at the same time I feel encouraged. So Education USA helped me like for the English classes and the application, like the whole process. And that, the language would be the first, the first challenge, exactly. And then, there was a lot of challenges, like also like the money, you know, like everything cost. Like if you want to apply to one university, you have to pay like what it was like a lot of money for me. Like, and what about like 5 universities or whatever? Yeah, it would be, it was a lot of money. So like maybe, exactly, maybe that would be the language, kind of the money, and even the whole process. I didn't know like anything about the process, so I don't know. For me, finding the opportunity, the opportunity scholarship was very, opportunity grant was very, very supportive. Yeah.
Great. You mentioned Education USA and Opportunity Scholarship. Did you find any other support in any other source, in any other resource along the way that you can think of?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like CONACYT, it's like my main source now. And also, well, I applied to different universities, and different universities offer me different budget packages, like how much money they can give to me. But I think that the one of the best resources was obviously CONACYT. And then when you have this very important opportunity, then you can choose wisely. Like, okay, what exactly I want to do? Like, what programs fits for me or whatever. Yeah, what's the best program for me? So I will say CONACYT and Opportunity will be like the main sources, and also like this COMEXUS, which is like I don't know how to say, like an agreement between UC system and Mexico, like University of California system, like all these, like Los Angeles, here at Berkeley, Santa Cruz, Santa Barbara, and El Gobierno de Mexico. So yeah.
Great tips. You're giving us great tips. And I bet more than one from the people that is listening is already Googling these pages and the possibilities, right? Let's hope.
Mm-hmm.
So you said, well, one thing that I wanted to point it out is that one main concern that you had at the beginning was the money. And later you were in a position where you were able to choose different sources of funding, right? So I guess a good message we can give to the audience is not to worry too much, because things are going to present if you persist. What do you think about this idea?
Yeah, I like it how you put that, because at the end, like I was back then like wanted to study linguistics in the USA and everything, but at the same time I was like I hadn't no idea what's everything gonna happen, and then it just, the things happen, and I'm here studying, and I feel very happy. And for me will be like, the message would be like, do it, try it, don't be afraid of trying, because you don't really know, like you don't really know, because for me was like the money was one of the big barriers or challenge, but at the same time there are like help out there. There is a lot of things that you can do for getting that money. So for me will be, don't be afraid.
Yeah, and I don't know what you think about this, Cynthia, but for people that were born in a specific relationship to money and resources, sometimes it's difficult to accept that money will come if you continue to do things, if you trust the process. I don't know if you have anything to say about that.
Yeah, well, I come from a family that the money is not like, well, you don't know if you have enough money. Even for a student here is a lot of money. Yeah. But as you say, like trust the process. For me, it will be like, I know what exactly want to do, like working with my language, while documenting and revitalizing my language. And that's the way that I took for applying for everything. Like, this is from my heart. So for me, that will be trust the process, because if you know what you want, then you don't know where you're gonna end up, like, because it's something from your heart. That would be I don't know it's
Yes,
so
you
much
said it.
romantic, but
Yeah.
I guess that's the idea.
You said it beautifully. So you started, and after all these challenges, you started the program in the middle of the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. How was that experience like?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I was in Mexico City, starting my first year of PhD, like all the pandemic and everything. And I was expecting like it's going to be one semester and end up like 1 year, like 2 semesters. And I feel like, how can I connect with people through Zoom or whatever? Because now Zoom is very important, and I like Zoom, but back then I was like, it is so, for me was like so artificial, like doing all this class with Zoom and everything. But once that I get here, it feels like, okay, I have to talk with people, to find myself here. How can I, it was hard, and it is still hard, if I have to be honest. But I don't know, even in the most I know, like, not so good position, I think you learn something from that. So for me, that was like, wow. So I'm here in the middle of the pandemic, studying in another country, but being here, being there in Mexico, and I don't know, like trust the process. Again, I think that would be the answer, like, trust the process. But now I'm here in like my second year. I was doing fieldwork in Mexico during the summer, and I just get back here like 1 week ago. But I don't know, it feels like it's going to be nice. And I know it's still, we are still in the middle of pandemic, right? But with different like we have now vaccination and everything, and it feels different, but still kind of not quite normal, but I don't know, it's the challenge.
Yeah, it was quite an experience for everyone, but I bet starting a PhD besides having a pandemic was quite of a challenge. Mm-hmm. So before we continue, I want to remind everyone we're talking to Cynthia, that is doing her PhD in the United States. And if you have any questions or comments that you want to give to Cynthia, please write to Q&A Juanma, that is here with us. Just write to him and he will tell us at the end your questions and comments, okay? So Cynthia, your PhD is in linguistics, right? Mm-hmm. And it has different areas of studying. Linguistics has different areas. Tell us about yours. What are you focusing on?
Yeah, I'm focusing on language revitalization, which is how can I say, like, try to bring the language in use again in the community. Like, I was reading here in the comments, like, for example, Huejutla has a big vitality in languages. Well, I don't know, correct me, Mauricio, de Jesus, if I'm wrong, but Huejutla maybe could be some Otomir, Nahuatl, different languages there, which is very vital. Yeah, muy vitales. And but in Puebla, where I'm working, it's like not so the same vitality. And for me, it's important to working with that. That's a lot of mainly Nahuatl. Yeah, here, but in Puebla, it's Mixtec. And then for me, it's important, like, people over 60 years old speak the language fluently, and how can we work from that situation. And well, in linguistics, we have like morphology, phonology, phonetics, syntax, semantics, different other areas. But when you are trying to work with a very endangered language, it's like this kind of areas of linguistics. It's important, but at the same time, what's the most important thing to do? For me, will be to bring the language in use in the community. And I'm focusing on that. And like in Mexico, we have different etapas de desplazamiento lingüístico, but so you have to think about it. What would be the best practices for doing different projects in your own community? And here, as I was saying, in the USA, there are different people doing work from archiving. Like people are not longer speak their languages here, but they are working from the data in the archives. And I was like, it was amazing. In Mexico, we have other different opportunities for to work with the language. And yeah, I'm focusing on that. And I don't know, like now we are talking about indigenous languages and indigenous students. So that's you have to look for what's the need in your community, and then you can work thinking about it. Yes.
Great. You speak about it so passionately that I think you are going to recommend others to also do this amazing adventure, right? So what would you advise? Any advice you would give to these people that is thinking about going to the US to do a master, a PhD, even a bachelor? Any advice?
Yeah, for me would be first, like, don't be afraid of trying. And then even if once you get here, you maybe feel kind of intimidated, but don't be. Like, you can do your own work and you know what I'm working for. So I don't know, like, I will thank again for Mauricio de Jesus Espíndola writing questions here. But yeah, like we know what we are doing.
Yes.
So let's keep doing it.
Don't be afraid to validate your point of view and your projects. And very good. Thank you very much, Cynthia. Let's see if Juanma has any questions from our attendees today. Hello.
Oh, thank you. Thank you both for this great interview. Cynthia, very nice to see you again. Feels like just yesterday you were doing your process for opportunities. That's pretty cool. Well, I have some questions from the audience. And I mean, they're really, really interested in the topic. So the first question for you is, are there any requirements after obtaining your scholarship? Are there any requirements for maintaining it? Do you have to write like monthly reports or activities, a certain GPA?
Yeah, for the CONACYT, you have to present like each year you have to present like a report from your advisor. So also by you, but also by your advisor. So each year you have to present what you have done during the year. So that will be the first one, and I guess that will be like like don't worry about your you have to worry about your what's the name of that? GPA? Like tus calificaciones. GPA? Sorry, I can't hear you, Juanma.
You're muted.
Sorry, I was muted. GPA, yes.
GPA, exactly. So yeah, you have to worry about it, but not so much as doing your whole report, like your yearly report. And I think that would be all. Yeah, you have to submit like, I think, that will be each year. Not much so work. I think that the most work will be for applying, because you have to do a lot of cartas de recomendación and your transcripts and everything.
All right, that's pretty cool. So there's another question that seems really interesting to me, and it's that, is there any specialized or specific process for the application process as an Indigenous student?
Not like a special process. I think that would be same as everyone. I know there is a scholarship, like for example, CIESAS, which is another, like in Mexico, otro lugar como centro de, well, el CIESAS en doctorado en lingüística o maestría, that should ask specific for Indigenous students. But for here, for the USA, you don't really need to do anything different from any other student.
All right, thank you. Talking about the application process, there's a question that is asking for recommendations for the essay. Do you have any recommendations for the essay?
Yeah, well, for me that would be, well, here, well, I have done like different kind of essays, but here in Berkeley we need like the personal essays and the one about your work. And for the personal, and I have another friend here from Mexico. She's also studying linguistics, and he's also studying her own language. And we were talking like it's very important to for you to say like, I don't know, maybe speak from your heart. Like why you are, what do you want to study here? Like we are working with our languages, but why? Like saying your bachelor, I mean your background, and also about your bachelor, but why? Like not only like common things like, yeah, it's very important, but why is very important? Where are you come from? What do you want to do after getting your PhD here or whatever? So for me, that would be like, speak from your heart. What do you want to do? I don't know, maybe things is going to be easy once you can talk from your heart. I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty good advice. Yeah, I think being real to yourself and who you are.
Exactly.
It's going to show, yeah. It's going to show in your essays. Yeah, but sorry, you were going to add something?
No,
okay.
Yeah, sometimes I don't say exactly what I want to say, but you say it perfectly. I talk from your heart, be real to yourself.
What you said.
But in better words.
Well, I see quite a few questions regarding the application process or other things. I do want to say before we close up that Education USA has sessions, full sessions. We recently did a boot camp of 6 sessions on writing essays, on talking about your transcripts, and talking about translations. So be sure that you go and look at, follow us on social media so you are following all the materials that we're putting up there. We have a YouTube channel. You can put on YouTube, Education USA, Mexico, and you find all of the content that we create for you. So, because we might not have the time to answer all of your questions, but a lot of people thanking you, Cynthia, for sharing your experience and being brave and sharing your story that is helping a lot of people. And I think those are the questions that we have right now. So, yeah, back to you guys.
All right. So Cynthia, I don't know if you have anything to add.
Yeah, if you want me to, like I can share also my my own email if you want. If people in the audience have other questions, feel free to reach to me.
That's so generous. Thank you, Cynthia. You can then write directly to Cynthia and maybe start a new friendship, right? So be sure.
Quick question, can people find you on LinkedIn, Cynthia?
I don't know. I received Education USA invitation and I accepted, but I don't really, I'm not very active in LinkedIn.
Okay, I was just thinking that maybe that's, since that's one of the professional networks, people can contact you there also too.
I need to update my LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, I mean, so we don't share your Facebook or your Instagram or something. Yeah, okay, that's it from my side. Very nice to see you guys.
Thank you, Juanma. Thank you, Cynthia. And thank you everyone for joining today. It was very, very insightful, very informative, and very nice to have you today here. Make sure that you contact your local advisor at educationusa.state.gov, and see you next time. Bye-bye.